Hello friends! Welcome to a brand new school year. This is the first episode of my Our Homeschool Life series and the 6th season. We are in our 6th year of homeschool and I've been doing these these weekly updates in our homeschool life since we started. It's become kind of just like a living journal for me, and I do go back and watch the previous ones that I have filmed just because I have moments where I'm like, what is it that I did with my younger kids now that I'm going through these school years again? So let me go ahead and just kind of get started. So here we go. All right, as an introduction, if you are new to my channel or maybe you just stumbled across this video, this is just a candid conversation video log of stuff that we did this last week for our homeschool. And I'm going to try to film these videos weekly because we are doing a few unit studies and there may be some activities that might be interesting for you. And if you're kind of wanting to rebuild or do something for your families, then I might have some ideas that I did, which kind of spark your interest. So it's very candid. I will be going through the curriculum for all 3 of my students. I have my 4th grader, my 1st grader, and K4. So I will talk about each of those things as well as what we did for family school. So hopefully these videos don't get too lengthy, but I'm just going to cram them all in one unedited video so that I can get them up there because I have other things on my plate and filming 18 different videos for everybody just isn't conducive to my lifestyle. So hopefully you stick around. I'll try to put some timestamps in the description box below so you can skip around to the age group and or unit level that you're interested in looking at, okay? All right. So let's just start with family school. We start our day with family school. I have a video in the lineup that talks about how I organized my school day. And so if you want to watch that in a preface to this, then you can go ahead and do that and then you'll know the flow of our day. So starting with family school. So we are studying the character trait of attentiveness. It went really well. Let me get in here and I don't even remember what we did. We did play a few games. We played Simon Says to practice listening and following directions. And then we played a game called 3 Commands, where I gave my kids 3 commands or 3 requests, and they had to go do all 3 of them and then report back to me. So I said, go and get a cup, go and find some chapstick, and then go and pick up your socks. And then come back to me. So it would just be 3 things. Or go close the blinds, go, open the curtains and go get a paper towel. So anyway, I just had like 3 different things. They weren't like jobs where they would get distracted in the middle of it. It was just like 3 quick things that they had to do all 3. So in that they were practicing that they needed to sit and look at me, they needed to listen and then complete all 3 tasks. We also learned about having a hearing heart. And then we did these this week. This is from characterlibraries.com and they are free and it had the cutest little story. The guy that does the story and the video, he's so animated. He does such a great job. And so the kids colored this while he told the story about the deer being attentive in the meadow. And then we listened to the song like 2 or 3 times while they finished coloring that. So that was our introduction to attentiveness. We're going to be doing this for the rest of the month. And there's a memory verse that correlates with that. So this week we only verbally said the memory verse and we made up hand actions for it. The memory verse is Hebrews chapter 1, verse 2. Or is it Hebrew chapter 2, verse 1? Woo! I don't know. Now I've messed up. Hold on. It's right here. Nope, it's not right. Oh yeah, Hebrews 2, verse 1. Okay, so that was that. Then we started our Little House in the Big Woods unit study. This is a literature unit. And I was going to do a whole separate video series of this because when I introduced the idea to you guys, I was telling you I'll try to figure out how I can create something so you can duplicate it in your home. And I'll be honest, I haven't figured that out yet. But in the interest of time and not recording different videos, I don't know, maybe I should just do, anyway, maybe you might see a separate video pop up if I decide that I want to do that. But let me just quickly tell you what we did this week for the Little House in the Big Woods. So the first thing that we did, okay, so I got my kids these little like pocket folders, and someday I'm gonna have a real sticker on there. I just haven't done it yet. And that's where my kids are keeping all of their pages, mostly because A, I want to have a place for them to keep it, and two, if I need to take pictures of this for their portfolios, then I have them all in one space. So this was the first page that we did. This is a My Predictions page, and I got this off of another curriculum that I had purchased from Confessions of a Homeschooler. She has a bunch of literature units. And at the start, it's just a predictions page. You don't need to buy a whole unit. It's just several boxes. But what we did, I mean, there's a lot of different curriculums out there. But anyway, you just like look at the front, you read the back, and then you make a bunch of predictions and you draw like a little illustration. It's basically predicting where the story takes place, when the story takes place, what do you think it's about, and how do you think the story is going to end. That's what this one was. And so while we kind of did this and we made a discussion about it, and then we talked about the fact that like when it takes place in the 1870s, it takes place in Wisconsin, it takes place in the woods. So we just talked about all that kind of stuff. Now this is my daughter's, and she is not she's not advanced in writing yet. She loves to write, but in the interest of time, I wrote it for her. My fourth grader wrote it for himself. So that was the first day that we did that. I have to find my notes. Okay, the second day we did the log cabin. So we read the first 4 pages, and then we happened to live in an area that was settled by pioneers. And so we went to a log cabin replica, this one was actually built to be a post office, so it wasn't totally the same idea. But we just went over there just to get the idea of what a log cabin looked like. And then while we were there, we talked about how it was different than our house, and why do you think they built it here, and where do you think that they slept, and like all those kinds of fun questions. So day 3 was pages 5 through 11. And then for those pages, we learned about forests and like what the forest habitat was. And then there was a huge section talking about making beef jerky out of the venison. So we didn't eat venison jerky, obviously. We ate beef jerky while I was reading. And the kids also did, when did we do this page? I think that this was the first day, actually. So rewind. This was, as I read, we were introduced to Laura's family. So I had my kids draw Laura's family, draw their house, draw the big woods, the wagon in the front. So this was all like a setting section of the book. So the kids did that on that day. Okay. So on this day, as I was reading, so we're back to the second day of reading. We're reading pages 5 through 11. I had my kids fill out this form. This is a page that just talks about imagery while reading. So since this was the first time they had done it, that I filled out this first section for them. And I just picked passages that I thought were a good example of imagery. And as I passed those passages in the text, I had my kids draw their picture next to it. So anyway, it doesn't matter what passages you pick, so I won't tell you what I picked, but you just draw those passages for them or write it for them. And then if you have older students, then of course you can challenge them. I'll definitely do this with my fourth grader. As the year goes on and they have that opportunity to practice it, then they'll be able to draw it. So we did that. And then we put our pages or whatever, after we filled out that, then we talked about the forest habitat. So this was one full sheet of paper before we cut it up. Anyway, we just kind of read through this, talked about what the habitat was. Here's conveniently some animals that were from the book. This is a Teachers Pay Teachers science resource that I had purchased a long time ago. It's made by a lady named Mrs. Jones Creation Station. If you want to try to like look that up, it's not gonna go. But anyway, so that's what we were doing. We talked about this, and then the kids started coloring these pages. I told them that they had to color anything that was a picture. So they colored a few of these, and the food chain, we talked about that. And while they were coloring this, I read to them, I feel like I was reading another book to them, but I don't have it here with me. Oh, I did. This particular curriculum came with a forest biome, like little book that the author had created. So I just showed them that. It had some pictures and some descriptions, and it talked about lots of different things. One of the things that they talked about in here was about spiders, and that conveniently correlated with what we read about later, which was in this indescribable book, 100 Devotions About God and Science. And I had written down a few pages that had to do with science, so I just flipped to one of them, and it was about spiders. So we were reading about spiders and how they make their webs and why they make their webs, and not all spiders, blah, 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 while my kids colored this. So that was kind of our forest biome thing. And then the last day of the week, we read pages 12 to 18, which is, what do they call it? I can't even remember, Butchering Day or something like that. And it goes through the whole story about preparing for winter and why they need to prepare for winter. And then when Pa butchers the pig with Uncle what's-his-face. So anyway, I mostly just read it to them, and then I should have had some kind of activity for them to do while I was reading it. Not that they needed an activity, I just feel like we don't have anything to show for it. Not that we need that. But anyway, but the part that was the most interesting is that Laura and her sister Mary want to play with the pig's bladder. And that was kind of an interesting topic to converse with the kids. And then Laura and Mary were very excited about the pig's tail. So we talked about that too. So that encompasses the entire week of our family school this week. After family school, we do seat work. So I'm going to break this up into my 3 kiddos. Overall, it was just such a great first week, even though in the middle of the week, I already had to call in a sick day because I just had like a mom day and it just didn't happen. But we did school Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday. So we did complete the full week of school. So we'll start with my 4th grader. He started with flashcards, and I made him do 5 minutes a day with his flashcards. And I was busy doing history with my daughter. So I just set my watch for 5 minutes and he went through it. I had him do the 4 family. And I appreciate my YouTube family because it was just one of my YouTube watchers who has become a dear friend of mine, had suggested that. And she was like, get the flashcards and just have your kid do it for 5 minutes a day, and you will be surprised the progress that they make. And so that's what I had him do. And wouldn't you know, I was surprised at the end of the week, some of his assignments would have those 4 family multiplications, 4 times 7, 4 times 8, 4 times 6, and he did pick those up. So I was really pleased and like, oh, well, actually this is maybe going to work. So we started with that. He did his math. Now when I had planned out the year, I put specific pages, and it just takes him a long time just because he gets distracted or he doesn't want to. And in our old curriculum, I had gotten him into the habit of only having to do a portion of the problems. So there would be maybe 15 problems, and I would be like, just do half of them or just do the top row or something like that, because our old curriculum had a habit of giving the kids a ton of problems to do. Well, this new curriculum that we're using doesn't do that. And so I've been like, no, you need to do all of them because there's only 10 instead of 30. So that was kind of something that we kind of had to get through. So that was that. Language arts, we are doing Abeka Language A, and I am very pleased with it. It's really good. It's going to give him a lot of writing practice, so I feel really comfortable with that and excited about that. And it'll be good for him because he does need to practice writing more than just fragment sentences. And conveniently, we talked about fragment sentences versus complete sentences. So that was really good. And I'm also creating kind of in this basket right here. This is what they turn in when they're done. So I'll be able to add some of those pages to his portfolio because there are assignments where it says on a piece of notebook paper, do this assignment. So I'm actually pulling out the notebook paper. I'm writing on the top what the assignment is, or just kind of like a quick, you know, whatever. And then just so that when I take a picture of it for when I have to turn it into the school district, then they'll be able to see, you know, like, oh, this is what these 5 sentences are or whatever. So that's what he did for that. And then we're also practicing spelling this year. And the way that I'm having it done, let me reach over here and show you really. So the way that I'm doing his spelling is that he gets his list from his curriculum book, and every day before he does the activity page provided by the curriculum, I have this spelling pad for him in his book. These are all exactly the same, but he has to check all of these boxes. And this is a pattern that is taught by the curriculum that I picked, so I didn't make it up, but he has to first look and say the words. And at this point of his day, my other younger kids are done, so I can sit next to him and kind of like walk him through it. I feel, especially with this first week, if I had left him on his own, that he probably wouldn't do it or wouldn't know how to do it or anything like that. So I kind of was sitting with him, and we like look and say, and then we think about the words. And I did different activities for the think about the words. We first tried to notice any similarities, like all of the ones that have the same ending sound or the same vowel team or anything like that. And then maybe on a different day, we tried to think about pictures. I didn't actually make him draw pictures for each of his words because this curriculum gives him 20 words a week. And I felt like that was a little intense, but he absorbed it really well. It wasn't a problem. Then I make him write his words, and these are not by memory. I let him use his spelling list, and he just kind of transfers it if he needs to, but he does it every day. So by the end of the week, he kind of knows what order the letters go in, and he can spell it on his own. And then right down here it says check, so he checks his spelling against his spelling list, making sure that everything's right, making corrections. And then this part right here, it's a mom check. So I put that on there so that he knows he needs to show me this when he's done. And usually I'm sitting next to him. There may be a time in our school year where that's not is happening, but in the meantime, then I put my initials here just as like a recognition to him, like I see you, I see what you're doing, good job in being intentional about your work. So, and that, my friends, wrapped up his first week of school. Now, I do have additional subjects that we're going to be tossing in as the weeks progress. I have a reading program that I'm going to get him started on next week, and then we'll start history here in the next little bit. We are doing some history in family school, which I forgot to mention, so I'll throw it in now. You'll see the states here on the board. So we are learning the geography or where the states are in the United States. So because we live in the West, we started in the West. If you live in the East, I would recommend you start in the East. If you live in the South, then start with the area where your state is located, okay? So we started with 6, these purple ones. Where's my Idaho? Oh, right here. Okay, so the purple ones we haven't done yet, and I'm actually going to redo this for next week. But we did Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, and Utah, and Nevada. And so we just did stuff with this every single day. And on their, I didn't talk about this either. Anyway, on their clipboards, their morning clipboards or family school clipboards, then they have, I'll have to talk about this someday, maybe in the next update video, because I don't want this to get terribly long. Anyway, then they have a map of the United States, and I printed off 2 different copies. So on the first day and the second day, we used one, and then on the third day and fourth day, they had a fresh one. So by the end of the week, all my kids, except my 4-year-old, he just kind of was like along for the ride. But my other 2 older kids knew those 6 Western states. So then this coming week, we're going to add another 5, I think. We're going to do Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. But Colorado and New Mexico did not fit on my drawing here, so I'll have to redo that. Anyway, we worked with them in alphabet alphabetizing them. We also worked on, I'm pointing to the abbreviation here. So we worked on the abbreviation, and then I had them label their map using the abbreviation. So that includes geography, both for my 4th grader and for my 1st grader. Okay, let's move on to 1st grade for my daughter. This will be a little bit quicker. Please hold in here. Okay, I said I wasn't going to edit this video, but maybe I might have to. I'm like moving around so much. Okay, so this is what my daughter did for her math page. You'll see that there's 4 here. She is doing a Carson DeLosa interactive notebook. And I have her start with this because, one, it's the beginning of the year. It's interactive, so there's lots of cutting and pasting. And it's a great review for moving into her 1st grade work. Now, we did a tiny little bit of summer school, so she's not completely forgotten all of the progress she made in her K-5 year, but it's just a fun review. So anyway, we did like number recognition, tally marks, and like underneath here, the curriculum book gives you all the activities and how you do it. Number one-to-one, correlation. So how many flowers, and then she wrote it under there. This was the first day. So we did like, do you know 1 to 5? And then she drew different things under each of these little, I think she drew raindrops, flowers. One time I think it was with number 4, she started with a whole bird, right? And then she's like, I'm just going to draw the beaks for the rest of them. Anyway, that was really successful. So we have I think we have maybe 2 weeks more of these. It might just be 1 more week, but oh, there was a backside to one of these. I forgot. Yeah, this one. This was the 1 to 5, 1-to-1 ratio. I think she did something underneath. Oh no, she didn't. She was supposed to, but anyway. Okay, so that was super successful. We loved that. And then what else did she do? Oh, so I don't think that I talked about this in her curriculum haul, but I mean, I may have. Anyway, I found this book in my stash and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that we had this. So this is her Skill Sharpeners reading. And so I had her do the first unit for that. And I love these because they're like books in the sense that you like turn the pages, right? And you read more than 1 page. But the reading level is really, really easy. And then there are, I believe, 6, maybe 7 activities. So I say that because some days we did 2 pages worth and some days we did only 1 page. But you'll see here there's like cutting and pasting. There's like sequencing they've practiced. They have sounds that they practice. They have, this is like, you'll see the word family that they practice. She practiced reading. So this was a really great book. And I'm sure that somewhere here on my channel, I have a video that's a look in the book for these. But let me just show you this is the last section here. So you'll see how the words or the stories actually progress quite a bit. This is a lot more reading than that first page because it is grade 1 level. So my daughter is a pretty strong reader. I think she could actually read most of this. By the time we get to this, I don't know, we'll decide when we get there. If she were to do this right now, I would read every other paragraph with her. She could read this, but it's pretty intense. It's like pretty extensive. So, and I'm interested to see as we kind of go through the year to see how her reading comprehension is. I've been a little, I don't know the right word, but aware of it, kind of like, I wonder if this is a reading comprehension thing or if she's just so new to reading that she's focusing on sounding out the letters. So I'm going to pay attention to that as we go along, but she's always been good, especially just in this last week. She answered all the questions, right? The whole story was like 20 words, let's be honest. So anyway, I don't even remember how many stories this comes with. So let me count really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're talking, 4, 8, 12, 3.5 months if you do 1 every week, which is kind of my plan. So in 3.5 months, your kid is reading some pretty not intense, but some pretty great grade level work. Okay. So she had that at the end. We are also doing her history this week. And That's with BJU Press. She's got it in her drawer right here, and I'll just show you. We did a very overview introduction of the earth, and it's called, the whole section's called God's World. And so as a part of that, we talked about a globe and the world. This was the activity page. This book I made like when my first student went through first grade. So I just copied it again and was like, super, we'll just do this again. So anyway, we did that. And then we talked about the continents. That was a really fun thing. I have a big poster. You see this poster right here. We watched on YouTube. It's ABC Mouse Continents, and it's a really cute song about how the earth has 7 continents and 5 oceans. And it's really catchy and fun. And then we had a puzzle that we did, and it was like a super stellar week. I'm not gonna lie, I give myself 10 solid points for getting through that. And this is my daughter's first drawer. So she and I get one-on-one time while my son is doing his flashcards, and my son doesn't need me. So I give myself a pat on the back for that because that worked out really good. So her language arts and her letters and sounds curriculum. This is the Abeka curriculum I picked for her English. I have never used Abeka before, so this was a brand new thing for me, and I give it 10 stars for our first week. I loved it. It was a great approach and colorful, and like all the check boxes that I love with curriculum work pages, it did it. So that hits my first grader. So last but not least, let's talk about, this is getting really long, so if you're still around, hopefully you're like folding laundry or something productive. Okay, so my last kiddo, he's in K4, and he starts his day with his daily learning notebook. And this is the same materials that I have used over and over and over again. Many of you have also used it in purchasing it through my shop. So we practiced his name. I don't know how many, we practiced his name. I don't know how many people are watching that. Okay, this is what I want to show you guys. So this is the new page that I just made for him. And it's the same concept, but it's a little bit different. So it's in a sheet protector. He uses a dry erase marker. And the difference is that on my old set, I had, what day is it? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday across the top, and then a big empty box where the student can trace the word for whatever day of the week it is. And I was like, in 1 week, right? I cannot be bothered with trying to help my third student. Remember, I have 2 more who are seeking more attention from me. I can't be trying to find what day of the week it is by like flipping and being like, nope, it's not Monday, it's not Tuesday, like let's find the right week. So I just changed it so it's 1 page, and I don't have to worry about every day flipping and trying to find like what day of the week it is. So instead, I just can like divert my attention to him, and we can point and sing the song, what day of the week is it today, and then he can circle the day of the week for that, instead of me trying to be like, okay, hold on you, like let me come over here. And it just was like, it took me 2 hot days to be like, this is not gonna work. So I put this in this box over here, and then this is the today's date, so he finds wherever it is and like colors that in. This is the same, so he writes today's number, the number before, the number after, and then we do the weather. So that is the only new thing that I switched 2 hot minutes into our school year, because I was like, this is not going to work. So this is also the next part. We didn't do that this last week because he did not have a letter study for this week, but this is the next page, and it's also in a sheet protector, so he will practice his handwriting for this letter every day of the week. So anyway, that's new. And then he didn't really have anything else because I didn't want to print a calendar for July when I only had 1 week left. So he didn't do his calendar, but he did have his number, which was number 1 and 2. So, which it looks the same as this. I've just reset it for this coming week. Anyway, so he did this, we colored it, we put stickers on. I'll save it so that next time you can see what it looks like when it's finished. We did these pages for number 1 and 2. These are pages that I made. They are on my Teachers Pay Teachers shop. So we just talked about the number 1 and the number 2. I picked the number 1 and 2 because that's what his work text was focusing on. So, and And then he did not have any skills pages because, sad story, I got a new computer a season ago. But I had all of my preschool printables saved in a folder that then was transferred to like the box services. It's like an online cloud. And then something happened that we decided we were no longer going to use that. So we transferred everything over, and somehow all of that content got misplaced. So I'm kind of starting fresh. I have some stuff. If you've ever bought anything from Teachers Pay Teachers, all of your purchases are saved on their server. So I've downloaded a lot of stuff from there again. But anyway, I have to find, I don't think I have any. I found my ones for September, but I don't think I can find any for the August, which I used to have. So I don't know if we're going to do those till September. But anyway, okay, the last thing for my K4 kiddo is we practiced his name this week. So the first week of school, I always do the student's name, and the letter is the letter of their name, the first letter of their name. So for us, that is B. I had the first day we colored this, so it just, was fun. We talked about how we start at the top, go down, and then around. There's a really fun app that we played. It's called Letter School, and that teaches letter formation, proper letter formation. So we played that game. Day 2, we did this. So I took a picture of him, printed it out multiple times, obviously, and then he pasted his face all over the place. So there's that. And then the last day, this is a piece of cardstock, so it's heavier paper because these are do-a-dot markers / do-a-dot painters, so it's it could make a mess. And because he's only 3 and I was distracted with my other kids, I could not monitor how much paint he was putting on there. I did not want it to bleed through and make a hot mess. You can see we still have a few spots. But anyway, so he just colored it, and I assumed he was going to do one color for a letter, but he got real into it, and so it took him a long time, and we finished school with the other kids, and he was still doing this, so that was fun. So I only had 3 activities planned. I don't think that my 4-year-old needs to have like 5 days of school, an hour a day, or anything like that. So he is in the schoolroom with us, and he does his folder 5 days, or 4 days rather. We don't do 5 days of school. He does his folder for 4 days, and he also does his work text for 4 days, but I don't have an activity for him. I only do 3 days worth of activities. So be that as it may, that's just what I do for him. And then on the day, as soon as he finishes, he knows that he's free to go. And sometimes he sticks around and plays in the schoolroom with us. Sometimes he leaves and just plays with the Legos or whatever other toys are in the house. He just kind of heads out. So anyway, there you go. That wraps up week number 1. This was pretty lengthy. So in future weeks, I'm going to film the Little House in the Big Woods unit as a separate video. I know, but let me just tell you, I'm not going to change my shirt. So my YouTube channel is going to look really funny because I'll be wearing the same shirt multiple times, but I just can't be bothered with that right now. And I've got content to give you guys, so that's what the goal is going to be. And I'll divide it up into different videos just so that, there's categories for what you want to watch. And then if you don't want to watch it, then you don't have to try to find timestamps and all that stuff. So, okay, that's it. Happy school year, everybody. That's what's going on our side of the mountain. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.